Oh, we're leaving Jeannie, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Karen also posted photos on Facebook, not just text posts, but
they're weird little photos.
Most of them are were severely damaged.
No, they weren't.
Well, they're
photoshopped.
Well, some of them were and some of them weren't. I mean, so that's the kind of interesting thing is some of them were on those, you guys, I'm sure you both remember, the old photo album, like sticky back.
Yeah. With the cellophane cover.
Yeah, with the cellophane cover. And I have these exact same sheets at my house with photo albums my grandmother made me. And they're just literally those sheets taken out and like put on a scanner and scanned fully. And many of those pictures are damaged.
Yeah.
In there. But then there's these other pictures that are from, they're like of Peter, her ex-husband, from the, 90s to 2000s, the early 2000s. And they are, quote unquote, damaged in exactly the same way, all of them. And pretty much everybody agrees that these photos are photoshopped to look damaged.
Yeah.
So she had a damaged template and she would just drop it into the damaged template?
Yeah, like the squiggles are exactly the same.
Yeah,
like the quote-unquote damaged.
The weird white squiggles across it and stuff that were supposed to look like reflections during the scanning process off the cellophane.
They're exactly the same.
They don't look at all real.
And in the exact same spots.
Yeah.
On like at least 10 pictures that I saw. Except for that one of them is a horizontal picture, not a vertical picture. So it's the template. She like rotated 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And put it on there. And so that is very weird and super creepy.
It's not the only time I've seen people do that. There's something I'll bring up later on that has
that's
the same
fine.
thing.
But I will say and it's not like a filter or something, because on all of these photos, when she uploaded them, she claimed they were damaged in real life. She would refer to the damage on the photos as something nefarious or otherwise. So it wasn't as though she was like, look at this cool filter that I put on this thing. It was like, look at these damaged photos that people were trying to destroy. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the text. It was mostly text, and it was lots of text.
Most of the mystery around her is in the text.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it started out kind of not so unreasonable, and it got a little weird.
Yeah. So most of the actual wall posts were actually like semi-coherent, kind of just seemed a little attention. Well, no, the actual preliminary posts looked, they were a little attention-seeking. Like, sometimes she would say something like, oh, I'm glad to see that Alistair is back. Like, that's not, like, it's coherent. It's not, but it's a little attention-seeking, but whatever. And then, on an example like that, for instance, I think on that particular post, there's, like, 267 comments.
All by
from
her. Yeah.
Many of which are, like, max out whatever the character limit is on commenting, and many of them posted literally simultaneously, or if not simultaneously, like within minutes of each other. And she would go on these commenting sprees for like 12 hours at a time.
Yeah, go
ahead.
The thing I was wondering about that is, like, I know now you can queue up posts to be posted later.
I don't think you can.
Were you able to do
comments.
that? Oh, you can't do that, really?
Do you know, Steve?
You are correct, Joe, that you can queue up a post, but
I actually don't know.
Not just a
Can
comment.
you do that on a personal Facebook? I've never seen an option to do that on my personal Facebook, only on the
our
page.
show. I don't know if you can do that on a personal one, but
even though in 2010.
But to Joe's question, I do not think that at that time or today is a built-in functionality, but that does not mean that someone could not write a script to do it for them.
That's true.
Right. It also doesn't mean that somebody couldn't just like write out a Word document.
And then cut and paste.
I used to do that on a personal Twitter sometimes if I had a lot of things I wanted to say on Twitter. Sometimes I would just write, because it's 140 characters or something like that. So on Twitter, I felt like if I was responding to someone and I had a couple tweets worth of stuff, I would just write it out and then cut and paste.
Copy paste, yeah.
And so that's not to say that that's not what was happening here, but
they're so huge.
They're huge, and let's just I have an example in here that I know at least one of you has actually reviewed because one of you made a comment on it.
Who, me?
Yeah, I think it was you.
Oh, it was him, but I thought the same thing.
Yeah. So in this initial, well, and I am sorry I didn't explain this in my script because I just figured you guys would know that I also knew this information, but whatever.
No, you're a girl, you don't know this kind of stuff.
You actually kind of went into it later on.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's just an example of a post, and this is kind of how they would go. The initial post on her wall, like I said, semi-coherent, not totally coherent, but semi-coherent, where she says, quote, looking for Waldo, T.E., Thomas Edward, Lawrence, Peter O'Toole, or Canada's Prime Minister Stephen Harper. This is a Penguin 1962 reprint of the original 1926 text, first published in 1935 by Jonathan Cape. And I mean, there's connections to be made between all of those things, we think. I mean, certainly Peter O'Toole and Edward Lawrence, but...
Yeah, but Waldo I'm not so sure of. Stephen Harper I'm not so sure of.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but we're about to go into this.
Yeah.
So anyways, that would be the post, and then there would be a comment, something like this. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
When you say comment, are you talking about one of them, or are you talking about the thread? Because it's a thread of comments.
Well, this is one of the many.
One comment in the thread. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead and say that there were two comments that we're going to talk about in a second in between that post and this comment. Okay. But then she would say, surprisingly, you will not find the recipe in Myra Waldo's Pan-American Complete Round-the-World Cookbook, which was steadily reprinted twice a year between 1954 and 1962. She thanks the following for, quote, supplying information for this book, unquote, as editor-in-chief, the Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, Mr. Chise of the Common Council of the American Unity, with the various foreign consulates, and, of course, most particularly, the Pan-American World Airways agent all over the world in 81 countries, with a very special thanks due to Harold Laird and Gerald Whittled of Pan American.
Man, what does that mean, I wonder?
And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more paragraphs about this.
And by the way, just so everybody knows, a lot of these are so big, we can't sit here and just read the entire comment.
No, and it's also nonsensical too. We wind up boring you to tears.
Mm-hmm. But I do she says, I guess Harold Laird and Gerald Whittled of Pan American were just too busy with other things between 1954 and 1962 to let her know how to mix 1 cup of diced celery, 1 cup of diced apples, a half a cup of finely chopped walnuts, and 3/4 of a cup mayonnaise to help present the United States con libros. So she's there. I shouldn't be analyzing this already, but she's just giving the recipe for a Waldorf salad, right? Which is, she referred to
Waldo
in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just getting too excited. I'm sorry. So I chose that one in particular because it gives a really interesting idea of what's going on here. These posts appear to be incoherent at first, right? I mean, we would say this...
That couple of paragraphs of many more that you just read.
8 paragraphs is just gibberish.
Well, what struck me is it wasn't necessary. It didn't strike me as random gibberish so much as it looked like one half of a conversation. Mm-hmm. It often seemed like she'd be posting something and it was like she was replying to somebody else in her original post. It's almost like somebody said something and she's saying something back.
Yeah.
And their comment got deleted and we didn't see the deleted comment.
Or something, but
that's almost the way it feels.
Yeah.
Never minding the posting timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let's, and I want to a little bit break these down because in the original wall post, what she was referring to was a book called The 7 Pillars of Wisdom by T.E. Lawrence, which is the autobiographical account of Lawrence of Arabia fame. Which is why Peter O'Toole came in, because he played Lawrence of Arabia in the movie adaptation.
Which started the whole, what was a big component in the quicksand will always get you theory.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that where that came from?
That's one of the early movies.
I know they had the quicksand scene in there, but I thought quicksand actually appeared in the movies before that.
Oh, it did, but it's just one more that perpetuated the myth that quicksand will eat you.
Yeah,
so
totally.
She had that original post, and then she posted these 2 quick short ones, in rapid succession, and then the 8 paragraph long one. And then she said, looking for a Waldorf a good salad, but not a boutique school. And then, and Yul Brynner, not exactly Ann Jurison. And then she launches into that 8-paragraph rant that I read a little bit of. So there she refers to a Waldorf salad, right? And then like 4 paragraphs later gives the recipe for a Waldorf salad in the context of this larger rant. And so I don't think they're actually gibberish.
No, it's not random words.
Crazy. It's not just random words.
No, I mean, there is thought behind it. I will agree, and there is structure and self-reference in terms of previous things that are written. So it is not complete and utter gibberish, but
exactly.
I don't know that it is coherent.
By the way, I didn't notice this. Did any of her comments get any likes?
No.
No, really?
Well, they probably all had likes
Was
within
there
1
likes?
second of each other.
Could you like that early in 2010?
Actually, looking at the picture of the screen capture we have, I don't see the like button, so maybe that wasn't a thing then.
I don't think you could in 2010. I think that was like a newer thing.
Oh, that was like 15 or something like that.
I thought that was just a
2015 that
couple
came
years
out.
ago.
So these kids today just don't know how good they got it.
No, they
You know,
don't.
you think that was always possible to just like people on Facebook
You
and
thought
like
it
what the
was,
crap
like,
that they said, but
always
no.
possible to react. You don't even like anymore. You have like 5 options to react to something. It's crazy.
Well, you can't react to a comment, though.
That's true. You can like a comment though.
But you can't react to a comment.
Yeah, that's true.
I know you're
Anyway.
listening. I know Zuck is listening. I
Yeah.
want him to know.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
Do us a solid.
advertising our show.
Yeah. But so for reference, the thing is that it's all connected. It's semi-coherent, but something a lot of people have talked about is this thing that I know you guys know what this is because we've talked about it on the show before.
If you've listened to past episodes.
Yeah, if you listen to my wildly popular internet mystery episodes, you will know of Markov chain, and you may know that Markov chains are. It's relatively easy to write a program to create a Markov chain, and on Reddit, I am just like stealing this from somebody on Reddit because I couldn't find a generator as good as this, so I'm not sure. But
Tell people what a Markov chain is.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Okay, so a Markov chain is basically it takes some concepts, like you just feed it some text to begin with, and it will create these like giant chains of text by association. It's basically AI.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what it is.
The dumbest form of
It is. But it basically just finds references for other stuff and then just plugs words in that it thinks are going to make a coherent something. But it's AI, so it's dumb. So
I don't think it's.
know.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite AI. It doesn't look that readable. Although it's readable enough, you could actually generate like college term papers. I'm sure with no trouble at all.
Well, you can
and get
generate
A's.
some stuff. So what I'm borrowing here from this Reddit user is, this user said that they found a generator, or maybe they had one of their own. I don't know. They never linked it or anything like that, despite like 5 people being like, "Hey, can you link me to that generator?" They said that they input conspiracy, government, and privacy, came up with this, and it's like 3 paragraphs long, so I'm not going to read all of it, but I am going to have Joe read the first paragraph.
Oh, okay. All right. This is William Shatner reading. No, just kidding. Privacy is not and likely never will be obstreperous. Humankind will always validate government, whether by agronomists or of the account. Authorities which intercedes lie in the study of reality as well as the study of philosophy. Hence, authorities might engender mournful adjurations for incarceration which foretell periodicity.
So it's not...
And by the way, all the mistakes in there were in the original text.
They
weren't mine.
Yeah, it's as read, right?
Yeah.
as written.
As written, sorry. So, I mean, like, that is not... It's honestly... not
Adjurations
that
for
much
incarceration.
less coherent than some of the posts that we've seen from the Karen user on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. And then the other thing I'm going to bring up, and then we're going to get into theories, because most of this is just like, let's talk about this, is there was another really interesting analysis done on a YouTube video called Seriously Strange. And I believe she took this analysis from someone else that she said she went back to credit and she couldn't find the original source.
We don't know what that's like at all.
We know exactly what that's like. It's really hard sometimes. And so I don't have the original credit for this. I just have that YouTube video credit for this. But basically, here's the gist of it. Karen's word associations are often based on puns or other strong links. So, like, there's one post where she's railing against Annalie Peebo, who's an opera singer from her home country, maybe, of Estonia. Peebo's married to a deathcore singer named Raul Nartis, with two A's.
Nartis, yeah.
Nartis?
No, actually, Narits. And by the way, for our listeners who don't know, what is a deathcore singer?
It's a guy who sounds like this.
Actually, yes, yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Deathcore is like really, really heavy metal.
Oh, okay.
It's
he's trying to sound kind of like a demon or something like that. Like Satan.
From the people that I know who are into deathcore, it's more about the musicality of the singer than it is the lyrics. But anyway, so Peebo, who Karen's railing against, is married to this deathcore singer named Raul Nartis, with two A's, who she then merges into Raul Nartis with one A, who's a professor of law at the University of Taru in Estonia. Though she doesn't know what deathcore is, she admits outright. Karen humorously puns death corp off of deathcore.
Like Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm. And then translates that to Team Tot, which is the Third Reich.
TODT.
Yeah. Do you say that someplace to some other way?
Team Tot? No, I don't know. Team Tot.
You said Tot, so.
Yeah. So that's referring to the Third Reich, and then Team Tot, like you're teaching something, which she then associates with a peer at the University of Toronto, in the history department that she apparently had a huge rivalry with. And then she refers to the team teacher. So there's sophisticated wordplay happening throughout this, and punning,
and jumps of logic.
Well, there's jumps of logic, but it's more sophisticated than any chain generator I think exists in this world. That's very sophisticated association, that as far as I'm concerned. And
I see Markov later on, so I'm not going to say anything about it for now.
Well, it just takes away from the Markov theory. Yeah, so that's kind of the overview, very brief overview. You could spend literal weeks reading these posts.
Easily.
This Facebook profile was deleted in about April of 2011, so it doesn't exist anymore. I haven't been successful in getting the Wayback Machine to work, but sometimes other people are successful with getting the Wayback Machine to work on things that I can't, because the Wayback Machine is a fickle god.
It totally is. But, you would think that, did people not discover this until long, long after the fact that she had been come and gone?
No.
Because you would think somebody would have archived everything.
Some people did.
They did, but they're in a really weird format.
I've seen some of those where all the formatting is gone and it's nothing but text.
Yeah,
so that's the ones you're talking about.
Those are the only
I've
ones.
seen those.
And there's a live journal and a blog spot or something that did this, but they are very hard to navigate, figuring out what is a reply and what's a wall post and what is referring to a picture and what might be linked to something.
Because there's no category, subcategory, subcategory.
Because it's like when your Facebook loads and your internet connection is really slow and it's not in HTML anymore. It's just it doesn't have its CSS connected to it, right? It doesn't have its style sheet.
It's just pure text.
Yeah.
It's literally just pure text. Mm-hmm. That's what these look like.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, they're heinous.
It's hard. It's really hard to navigate. We will post one link to one of these two things. But that does exist. But what happened is people became aware of this user profile in early 2011, and then people started kind of becoming active with this, and again, we'll kind of talk about this a little bit in the theories. But that it was pretty much when people started talking about the profile that it was removed.
So I've seen it in a lot of the writing, and you will probably know this better than I, Devin. It's referred to as /X. Is that a subreddit or was that a 4chan group?
Yeah, there's
Which was it? I wasn't sure.
It's a
chan?
It's a chan.
It's one of the chans. It's a group. Okay, because apparently one of the X in the chans went guano crazy over this.
Yes.
And started...
Accurate.
giving her a lot of attention.
Accurate.
Which seems to have been a problem.
I mean, to a stalking level.
Yeah.
Like to a really intrusive, very scary level. And it doesn't surprise me that
pulled the plug?
That this profile was deleted, like under any of these theories, right? And any of these theories, if that amount of attention from a Chan was being directed at it, you would get rid of it. So all of that having been said, we're going to talk about theories in a minute, but first let's take a break.
Why don't we read some posts?
Yeah.
Sal had one goal in life. It was a pretty simple goal, but it was going to take a lot of work to achieve. All he had ever wanted to do was eat plenty of fish every day, and eventually he would be strong enough. The trip home was going to be a long one, and he needed all the strength he could muster to make it upstream. It was all going along swimmingly until he decided to treat himself to a leisurely swim along the shore. That's what derailed him. Everyone out of the water had these amazing covers on their fins that allowed them to stand upright. Once he saw this, Sal knew he had to get some for himself. Sadly for Sal, nobody makes socks for fish. Happily for you, they do make them for people, and if you want to spoil yourself like Sal wanted to spoil himself, you should get some Bombas. Because though they are small, socks are a vital article of clothing. And that's why 4 years ago, two guys set out to make the best socks possible. Bombas offers premier socks equipped with 7 substantial improvements to the ordinary sock, including a blister tab that sets directly where your shoe hits your leg, and a Y-stitched heel that creates a natural cup around your heel. In fact, Bombas socks are such a game changer that customers overwhelmingly claim that they are the most comfortable socks they have ever worn. If you need new socks, you can't go wrong with Bombas. So go to bombas.com/sideways to get 20% off your first order. You'll love your Bombas socks or your money's back, guaranteed. That's bombas.com/sideways. And remember, they come in quite a few colors, and I'd recommend the salmon.
We're back.
Hi.
How are you guys feeling about those posts?
You read them all? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that was great reading. Pulled out my pipe, got in the wingback chair, in front of the fireplace. It was good.
It was good reading.
It was a good, cold, windy, stormy night read.
So, in typical Devon fashion, we have 2 main theories and several sub-theories. So the
ran away to join the circus. That's a good one.
So the 2 top theories, like the 2 high-level theories, are either this is a real person or this is a fake person. So first we're going to talk about if this is a fake person.
Okay.
I think it's entirely possible.
And this is part of where the Markov chain theory comes in. Literally somebody's just like plugging in some stuff to a Markov chain, whatever.
A generator.
Generator, yeah, thank you. And just posting whatever it spits out. Or even that they have, built a little bit of script that has put a Markov chain generator in charge of a Facebook account. One of the problems that I would have with that theory would be the number of other social media or otherwise accounts that Karen has, because she has been at some point active on almost every form of social media, as well as most genealogy sites, as well as the Chans and maybe Reddit, and also LinkedIn, and
a lot of places,
and is posting on this. I think currently maybe even posting on this like subscript thing. I'll see if I can. I don't remember what it's called, but it's something that I ran into in my research.
But she actually had a Reddit login.
I don't know. I can't confirm, since Reddit is such an enigma. There are posts that look a whole lot like Karen style posting.
Okay, so there's that's a dangerous.
I have no idea. Because it's totally anonymous, right? The way that people tracked most of these is because she uses that same dang picture in everything. So they just did a reverse image search on that picture, and suddenly all of these accounts were popping up, and then you get in there and you're like, oh yeah, this is the same person.
So for people who don't know, reverse image search is I save the photo as Karen headshot1.jpg and uploaded everywhere. And then when somebody pulls it from another website, that's one of the main tools that's used to reverse search it.
Well, it doesn't
There's
even
other
have
things
to
that are
be-
involved, but
It doesn't have to be the same name.
right. But I'm
even,
saying,
right?
well, I'm
So, like,
giving the
basically-
I'm giving the simplest version because not everybody understands how reverse image search works.
Right. Basically, what you would do if you saw an image and you wanted to reverse image search it, you would go to Google image search, and it would say upload picture from URL, and you would say yep. You would put the URL that picture's in, and it would search for all images that even remotely resemble that.
Today, that is how it works. Back then, it was a lot of file naming.
It was a lot of
because
file
I used to do a lot of image searching that way when I had put up what was I would consider protected content, and that was a way that you could find that people were ripping it because people weren't smart enough to at least change the file name a little bit so you could find it. But the other thing I want to real quick touch on is the whole Markov thing.
Yeah.
There's a big problem with this being a Markov chain.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
that is that a Markov chain is not self-referential. It doesn't refer to itself in a prior post.
Yeah. It also doesn't, for instance, in that post that we were talking about where she's like talking about people she knows or went to school with, it's not going to be that smart. It's not going to be able to vet it, but even then, like, it's just too complex and smart for a Markov chain, I believe.
I think you're right. But that doesn't mean that Karen isn't an alias, though.
No, for
It
sure.
also doesn't mean that she isn't a bot of some kind.
Right. So, quickly, one of the things that feeds the theory of, like, Karen being fake is, so I said I had an expert help us, and she kept getting sidetracked. And her name is Christina, and she's also happens to be one of our Facebook mods and, like, overall super fan.
So thank you for everything.
Yeah,
All the things you do.
basically, all
so
of
thank
the
you for
amazing
all of the things.
Literally all of the things.
Totally, we appreciate it.
But she, as a hobbyist genealogist, and so she has all of the, like, super pro accounts and all of that stuff. So she helped me kind of dig through this. And on Karen's accounts, on her Ancestry accounts and her Genie account, she comes from a long line of Nazis.
Cool.
And she claims...
Heil.
I mean, like, high-level Nazis.
Heil level?
I know. But she does say that these Nazi members of her family are being unfairly persecuted or otherwise. She does also claim to be related at one point or another to pretty much every royal in Europe that's ever existed. And the lineage is just like a mess. But one of the really interesting things...
Admittedly, European lineage in general is a mess.
But this is like, no. Like, no. There's no way that you were related to all of these people. But I will say that I think it's her great-grandmother, that she claims as her great-grandmother is a woman by the name of Karen von
Consow.
Consow,
Yeah.
who was also known as Karen. Can you pronounce these for me, Joe? Because you
I don't know.
German.
Axelina,
Holder
Göring.
Gruing, who was the wife of Hermann
Göring.
Hermann Göring.
Göring.
Yeah.
Who you may recognize that name. I don't know how many of you are familiar
Famous
with it.
Nazi dude.
He was the leader of the German Nazi Party and the founder of the Gestapo.
Yeah.
And this is a fact that Karen is proud of. Well, okay, I shouldn't say she's not proud of the
talks
Nazi
a
part,
lot about
but she
it.
talks a lot about being related to these people. And so that kind of lends itself to a theory of this person being like even a troll or just overall being fake because of like it's the same name. Like she says it's the same name that she has. And she says she's related to a lot of different people, and it'd be really easy to just like pull a bunch of names out of a hat. So there are a couple theories. One is that it would be a troll. One is that maybe this Facebook is actually acting as a number station. And then another is obviously that this is just a very confused reincarnation of Karen.
Yeah.
That's
So
a joke.
Karen-
I'm sorry.
Karen has like come back to haunt Facebook. She's actually dead.
Yeah.
She is the ghost in the
Karen,
machine.
Karen von Counts the wife of Herman.
Consul. Okay.
Yeah, I can't say German names. I'm so sorry.
Goring,
no,
I think
that's
actually...
a joke. I'm sorry. I should clarify that's a joke.
Good, yeah.
But this could be a troll account. I just am going to dismiss out of hand that it's a troll account because...
It didn't work out that well, did it?
It didn't, and I don't know why you would have as many accounts as this person does, and also why there would be so many, like, genealogy accounts, and also why you would use so many different aliases, and also the story is the same across the board. It's a crazy story that she tells, but her story is the same across the board, and I just don't know. And I know Steve is about to say to me, well, trolls don't always have a reason, dude. But I
wasn't actually going to say that.
But I don't think it's a troll.
Well, if it's a troll, it's a very disorganized troll. Which is
why ineffective troll.
Yes, that's a better way to say it. Thank you, Joe. Because of the fact that the accounts are under different names. I mean, they're very
and
sloppy.
Also, if you are a troll, you don't. As soon as you are gaining interest in your troll, you don't delete the troll.
Yeah, but not every troll is what we think of as a troll who is wanting to flame people and start a war. Yeah. They just want to muck with people a little bit.
Or as in somebody who wants to actually a very successful troll in terms of getting people interested in it. Eventually.
Yeah, this may be a super successful troll actually, because we are talking about it like a bunch of bozos.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is, if it were a troll account, it would have interacted with other social media accounts. And there's no instance, except for Jeannie. On Jeannie, she posts on Jack Spinberg's account a lot, who she says is her father.
See, my difficulty with the troll is if it's a troll, to me, it's a very low-level, poorly organized troll, and yet to be able to do some of the things that happened in the Facebook account takes a level of sophistication that that those two don't align. To be able to write a script, I'm going to say the posts were done by a script. I'm just going to make that presumption for my example here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a certain level of understanding and sophistication to be able to do that. Yeah. And yet you can't keep your account straight, and you're constantly making things and mixing things. Like it's very.
I mean, I guess to elaborate on that, to take it out of the troll theory, it could have been like, hey, here's our really early exploration into AI. Right? We created an artificial intelligence that has this Facebook account. But again, I think somebody would have said, yeah, that was us. Like that was our computer robot learning. Whoops.
Yeah. Maybe.
But I don't,
unless that company tanked.
I mean, even then.
When Karen's account was in
2011. It was just for a year. I don't think so. Anyway, that
was after, there's some tech bubbles in there.
Maybe. The next theory for fake is that it would be a number station. So, okay, you guys know what a number station is.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while since we covered number stations, so I'll just reiterate for maybe new listeners. I don't know. Are we getting new listeners? Who knows?
According to the numbers, we are.
That's good.
So number stations are basically like, in its most simple term, it's a station it's like a radio station that is either constantly broadcasting something or maybe not constantly broadcasting something, but that pieces of code would be broadcast over that, so that, like, if I were a spy for the U.S., for instance, right, radio waves can travel around pretty much around the world depending on time of day, alignment, blah blah blah. So I could be in like Russia, and I need the U.S. needs to get to me to give me instructions. And this is like pre-cell phone, pre-internet, blah, blah. So they have this one radio station that's broadcasting maybe white noise the entire time. And then okay, well, at 6 p.m. every night I have to tune into this radio station. All you have to do is have your radio, and then it broadcasts a coded message, and you write down the coded message, and then it's done. It goes back to white noise, and then you decipher the message.
Because
and you have
the key.
Because you have the key that's predetermined, and then you have your message. You have you
in the simplest form, that's a number station.
Yeah. So this could be a kind of internet number station that, Facebook is pretty easy to access. You go to an internet cafe, Facebook's gonna be available, and it also doesn't look suspicious for you to be looking at Facebook. You look up this profile, you say, okay, here's today's thing. You print out the pages.
This is much like what we talked about in cryptos, where you could literally copy and paste the text and format it according to your styling, and nobody else would get it.
Yeah, and then print off your pages for 10 cents a pop or whatever. Take them with you, burn them when you're done, and, nobody's the wiser. It would also explain why it went dark when it started to gain popularity.
That does, yeah.
Unwanted attention?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing about this, and I was thinking that too, and there's lots of ways to send signals. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, there was no code. There might not have been any actual encrypted code in any of it. But, and again, I'm not so sure about this because it still doesn't explain, like, the one post that had 267 replies.
It wasn't just one post.
Yeah, but
it was frequent.
Yeah, but
like that.
But still, it could be like a thing where, like, say, for example, you're a spy, and I occasionally leave stuff in a dead